There comes a time in life when everything changes. A single moment. Maybe it's an opportunity so powerful that you refuse to let it slip by. Whatever it is, it shakes you, wakes you, and forces you to see that the life you've been living is not the life you're meant for. That moment, that's your turning point. And today, I'm going to show you how to recognize it, own it, and use it to create the unstoppable momentum that will change your life forever. Because the truth is, your past does not equal your future. Your decisions do, and today you're going to make a decision that shifts everything. A turning point is not just a moment of change, it's a moment of truth. It's the instant where everything you've been, everything you've believed, and everything you've accepted as just the way things are gets put to the test. It's the breaking point where your old identity collides with the possibility of something greater. Some people reach this moment through struggle, some through inspiration, but no one escapes it. Think about the moments in life that truly shaped you. Not the comfortable ones, not the easy ones, the ones that forced you to see yourself in a new way. The ones where you stood at a crossroads and knew deep in your soul that the next choice you made would redefine your future. A turning point isn't just about making a decision, it's about making the decision the one that shifts the entire trajectory of your life. For some, it happens in a moment of crisis, a health scare that forces them to take control of their body, a financial rock bottom that pushes them to stop making excuses and start creating opportunities, a relationship failure that opens their eyes to the patterns they've been stuck in. Pain has a way of waking us up, of stripping away the distractions and making us see what truly matters. But here's what most people don't realize. Pain doesn't create the turning point. You do. Because not everyone who experiences hardship changes. Some people stay stuck. Some people keep repeating the same patterns, telling themselves the same stories, living the same problems over and over again. Why? Because they haven't hit that moment where they say enough. A real turning point isn't just about recognizing that something needs to change. It's about reaching a level of absolute certainty that you will never go back. And it doesn't always come from pain. Sometimes a turning point comes from a spark, an idea, a vision, an opportunity so powerful that it pulls you forward with such force that you can't ignore it. It's the entrepreneur who suddenly realizes they have everything they need to build something extraordinary. It's the person who, after years of doubting themselves, finally sees what they're truly capable of. It's the moment when a dream stops being just a fantasy and starts becoming an obsession. But no matter where it comes from, whether it's born from suffering or from inspiration, a turning point is defined by one thing: a shift in identity. It's the moment when you stop seeing yourself as a victim of circumstances and start seeing yourself as the creator of your future. It's when you let go of the old version of yourself, the one that was too afraid, too uncertain, too stuck in the past, and step into the person you were meant to be. This is why a true turning point isn't about external change. It's not about waiting for the right time, the right opportunity, or the right conditions. It's about an internal transformation. It's about reaching a point where staying the same is no longer an option. It's about making a choice so powerful that it rewires the way you think, the way you act, and ultimately the way you live. At the core of every decision, every action, and every breakthrough in your life is one fundamental force: the pain-pleasure principle. It's the invisible driver behind why you do what you do, and why you don't do what you know you should. Every single human behavior, every choice you've ever made has been in pursuit of one thing: maximizing pleasure or avoiding pain. The balance between these two forces dictates whether you take action or stay stuck, whether you push forward or hold yourself back, whether you step into greatness or remain trapped in mediocrity. But here's the catch. Most people aren't even aware of how this force is controlling them. They think they make rational decisions based on logic, analysis, or external circumstances, but in reality, emotion is what drives everything, and emotion is controlled by the association of pain or pleasure. Think about it. Why do people procrastinate? Why do they avoid difficult conversations? Why do they stay in jobs they hate, relationships that drain them, or habits that are slowly destroying them? It's not because they don't know better. It's because in their mind, they have attached more pain to taking action than to staying the same. The pain-pleasure principle is why someone will put off starting a business for years, telling themselves they're waiting for the right time, when deep down, it's not about timing at all. It's because in their mind, they associate pain with the possibility of failing, being judged, or stepping into the unknown. Meanwhile, the idea of staying where they are, despite their frustration, still feels safer. It's why someone will sabotage their fitness goals, not because they don't want to be healthy, but because they associate more pain with waking up early, pushing their body, or breaking their old habits than they do with the long-term consequences of staying out of shape. The pain of discipline feels more immediate than the pain of regret, so they choose comfort over change. But here's the truth: pain and pleasure are not fixed. They are shaped by your focus. The moment you shift what you associate pain and pleasure with, you can rewire the way you think, feel, and act. The moment you attach massive, unbearable pain to staying the same and overwhelming pleasure to taking action, you will change instantly. The key to creating a true turning point is to make the pain of inaction so intense, so unbearable, that doing nothing is no longer an option. Think about the times in your life when you made a drastic change. When you finally walked away from something that wasn't serving you, when you finally committed to a goal that had been on your mind for years. Chances are it didn't happen because of logic. It happened because the pain of staying the same became so overwhelming that you had no choice but to move. Maybe it was a breakup that forced you to raise your standards. Maybe it was a financial struggle that made you realize you could never live that way again. Maybe it was hitting rock bottom and knowing with absolute certainty that you would never let yourself feel that way again. And just as pain can push you away from something, pleasure can pull you toward it. This is where most people get it wrong. They focus too much on what they don't want, on the pain they want to avoid, but they never take the time to build a powerful emotional connection to what they do want. Because pain alone can spark action, but pleasure sustains it. If you only focus on avoiding pain, you'll eventually revert back to your comfort zone the moment the pain lessens. But if you attach massive pleasure to growth, progress, and transformation, you create an unstoppable force that keeps pulling you forward. Pleasure is what makes the struggle worth it. It's what makes people push through exhaustion, rejection, and failure, because they are emotionally addicted to the outcome. The athlete who wakes up at 5 a.m. to train isn't just disciplined, they have conditioned themselves to associate pleasure with pushing their limits. The entrepreneur who takes massive risks isn't just bold, they have conditioned themselves to associate pleasure with creating, innovating, and winning. The person who finally breaks free from self-sabotage isn't just lucky. They have rewired their brain to see massive pleasure in becoming their best self. And once you understand that pain and pleasure are just perceptions, just associations you have built over time, you realize that you can consciously reshape them. You can take control of your mind instead of letting it control you. You can start linking pain to hesitation, doubt, and procrastination instead of action. Instead of action. You can start linking pleasure to challenges, discomfort, and growth instead of comfort and safety. And when you do, everything changes. Everything in life comes down to one thing: decision. Not luck, not circumstances, not talent, just a decision. A real decision is not a wish, not a hope, not a vague idea of what you'd like to happen someday. It is a moment of absolute certainty where you cut off all other possibilities and commit with every possibility of your being. Most people think they've made decisions in their life, but in reality, they've only made preferences. They say they want to get in shape, they want to build wealth, they want to improve their relationships, but wanting something is meaningless without a true decision. Because when you make a real decision, you don't tolerate anything less than the outcome you're after. You don't make excuses, you don't look for a way out, you don't negotiate with yourself. A true decision means burning the boats so there's no way back. It means raising your standards so high that the old version of you can no longer exist. And here's the truth. Your life right now is a direct reflection of the decisions you have made up until this point. Every success, every failure, every opportunity you've seized or missed, every habit you've built or broken, it all comes back to the choices you made along the way. Some of those choices were conscious, some were unconscious. Some were made out of fear, some out of hope, some out of desperation, but they were your decisions. And if you want to change your life, you must change your decisions. But here's what holds most people back. They don't truly believe in the power of a decision. They hesitate, they doubt, they second guess themselves, waiting for the perfect moment, the perfect plan, the perfect guarantee that everything will work out before they commit. And that hesitation is what kills momentum, because indecision is the ultimate thief of success. The people who create extraordinary results in life aren't necessarily the smartest, the most talented, or the luckiest. They are simply the ones who decide fast and commit fully. They don't waste energy questioning themselves. They don't spend years overanalyzing, overthinking, or waiting for permission. They decide, and then they make it work. And let's be clear, making a real decision doesn't mean you won't feel fear. It doesn't mean you'll have everything figured out before you start. It means you step forward despite the fear, despite the uncertainty, despite the doubts, because you are so committed to the outcome that there is no other option. Think about the biggest breakthroughs in your life, the moments where everything changed. Did they happen because you spent months or years weighing the pros and cons? Or did they happen because you made a snap decision that this is it, that this is the moment? Some of the most successful people in history had no guarantees when they made their biggest decisions. They had no certainty that it would work. They had no roadmap. But what they did have was commitment. They made the decision first, and then they figured out the rest along the way, because decision comes first. The strategy, the resources, the opportunities, they all come after the decision is made. Too many people wait for things to be perfect before they decide, but it doesn't work that way. You decide first, and then you create the conditions to succeed. And the reason most people fail, it's not because they lack resources, it's not because they lack time, money, or connections. It's because they never truly decided to succeed. They kept one foot in and one foot out. They kept giving themselves an escape route. They kept making half-hearted commitments instead of going all in. But power comes from full commitment. Power comes from the moment you say, no matter what, I will make this happen. And what stops most people from making a true decision? Fear. The fear of failure, the fear of judgment, the fear of stepping into the unknown. But what they don't realize is that not deciding is still a decision. The decision to stay stuck, the decision to let fear win, the decision to settle for less than what they are truly capable of. Every day you hesitate, every day you delay, every day you put off making a real decision, you are making the choice to stay exactly where you are. And the problem with waiting, the longer you wait, the harder it becomes. The more you hesitate, the stronger your fears become. The more you put off action, the more your mind convinces you that maybe it's not possible, maybe you're not ready, maybe you're not capable. But the truth is, you are always one decision away from a completely different life. One moment, one choice, one shift in mindset. That's all it takes to set a new course, to build new momentum, to change the trajectory of your future. And the best part? The second you make a real decision, when you truly commit, when you truly say enough is enough, something inside you shifts. You tap into a level of strength, creativity, and resilience that you didn't even know existed. You stop negotiating with your old self. You stop allowing excuses to dictate your actions. You stop looking for reasons why you can't and start finding ways that you must, because when you make a true decision, there is no turning back. If there is one thing that separates those who achieve extraordinary results from those who stay stuck in mediocrity, it's not talent, intelligence, or luck, it's mindset. Your circumstances do not define you. Your background, your struggles, your failures, your past, they are not what determines your future. What determines your future is what you decide to believe about yourself, about life, and about what is possible. Mindset is everything. It is the foundation upon which all success, all breakthroughs, and all transformations are built. Most people go through life as if they are at the mercy of their circumstances. They blame their past, their parents, their financial situation, their education, their boss, the economy, the government, anything and everything outside of themselves. They convince themselves that if only their situation were different, if only they had better opportunities, if only things were easier, then they would succeed. But that's a lie. Because for every person who has ever used their circumstances as an excuse, there is another person who faced even greater obstacles and still rose above them. The difference? Mindset. Your mindset is the lens through which you see the world. It determines how you interpret challenges, how you respond to setbacks, and how you move forward in the face of adversity. A person with a weak mindset sees obstacles as roadblocks, reasons to stop, excuses to give up. A person with a strong mindset sees obstacles as stepping stones, as opportunities to grow, as challenges to overcome. The same situation, two completely different outcomes. All because of mindset. Think about it. Two people can grow up in the same environment, face the same struggles, go through the same hardships, and yet one will use those experiences as fuel to rise higher, while the other will use them as a justification to stay stuck. The difference isn't what happened to them, it's how they chose to interpret what happened. Because every experience, no matter how painful, can either be your excuse or your motivation. It can be the reason you stay down or the reason you rise up. The choice is always yours. And this is where most people get trapped. They allow their past to dictate their future. They tell themselves stories about why they can't change, why they can't succeed, why they can't be more than what they are now. But those are just stories, nothing more. And the moment you change the story you tell yourself, you change everything. Because the truth is, the past only has power over you if you continue to live there. Your circumstances only control you if you allow them to. The moment you decide that you are in control, that you will not be a product of your environment, but instead create your own reality, is the moment your life begins to shift. But let's be real, this is not about ignoring reality. This is not about pretending that challenges don't exist. This is about recognizing that your power is greater than your problems. That no matter what your situation looks like, you always have the ability to rise above it. History is filled with people who started with nothing, no resources, no support, no advantages, yet still created extraordinary success. Why? Because they refused to let their circumstances define them. They refused to accept limitations. They refused to believe that their past had any control over their future. And this is where the biggest transformation happens, when you shift from a victim mentality to an ownership mentality. A victim mentality says, life is happening to me, I have no control. My circumstances determine my destiny. An ownership mentality says, life is happening for me, I am responsible for my destiny. My circumstances are only the starting point, not the final destination. When you take ownership, everything changes. Instead of waiting for the right time, the right opportunity, the right conditions, you start creating them. Instead of making excuses, you start finding solutions. Instead of blaming others, you start looking within. Because at the end of the day, success is never about what happens to you, it's about how you respond. And here's what's even more powerful. Your mindset is something you can control. You can train it, you can rewire it, you can shift it, just like a muscle. The more you work on it, the stronger it becomes. The more you feed your mind with empowering beliefs, the more unstoppable you become. The more you push yourself to see opportunity instead of limitation, the more doors will open for you. But most people never take control of their mindset. They allow it to be shaped by their past, by the people around them, by society's expectations. They absorb negativity, doubt, and fear without even realizing it. They let the voices of others dictate what they believe about themselves. And as a result, they live their lives on autopilot, never truly stepping into their power, never realizing what they're truly capable of. But the moment you take control of your mindset, you take control of your future. The moment you decide that you are no longer willing to be a prisoner of your past, a prisoner of fear, a prisoner of doubt, that is the moment everything begins to change. Because mindset is not just about thinking positive. It's about seeing reality exactly as it is, but choosing to believe that you have the power to shape it. It's about taking full ownership of your life, your actions, your results. It's about refusing to let circumstances dictate your destiny, and instead becoming the kind of person who creates their own future. Change doesn't happen because we know what to do. It doesn't happen because we have the right information, the right strategies, or the right plan. If that were the case, everyone would be fit, financially free, and living their dream life. The reason most people don't change isn't because they lack knowledge. It's because they lack emotional leverage. Emotional leverage is the force that makes change a must instead of a should. It's the power that pushes you past hesitation, fear, and resistance. It's the emotional intensity that makes taking action non-negotiable. Without emotional leverage, even the best intentions fail. With it, even the most impossible goals become achievable. Think about the biggest changes in your life. The ones that weren't just gradual shifts, but massive, undeniable transformations. Chances are they didn't happen because you slowly reasoned your way into them. They happened because you reached a moment so intense, so powerful, that you could no longer tolerate staying the same. Maybe it was a rock bottom moment where you said, never again. Maybe it was a realization so deep that it shook you to your core. Maybe it was a burning desire so strong that you refused to let anything stand in your way. That's emotional leverage. It is the key to every lasting breakthrough. Most people struggle to change because they haven't created enough leverage. They want to lose weight, but they haven't attached enough pain to staying the same. They want to start a business, but they haven't linked enough pleasure to the idea of freedom and success. They live in a gray area where their desire for change isn't strong enough to override their comfort. So they stay stuck, repeating the same patterns, telling themselves they'll change someday, but never actually following through. But here's the truth. Until you make staying the same more painful than changing, you will never commit at the level you need to. Until you make success feel so emotionally compelling that not taking action feels like self-betrayal, you will always find reasons to delay, to hesitate, to hold back. Because human beings do not change based on logic, they change based on emotion. Think about the moments in life when people finally break free from destructive habits. The person who finally quit smoking after years of failed attempts. It wasn't just because they knew it was bad for them, it was because they saw a loved one suffer, or they felt the weight of their own mortality, and the pain of continuing became unbearable. The person who finally takes charge of their financial future, it wasn't just because they read a book on wealth building. It was because they hit a moment where they realized, I will not live like this anymore. The person who finally walks away from a toxic relationship, it wasn't just because they knew it was unhealthy, it was because they reached a level of emotional intensity where they said, this is not who I am. This is not the life I will accept. That is the power of emotional leverage. And the good news, you don't have to wait for tragedy, failure, or desperation to create it. You can manufacture emotional leverage right now. You can condition your mind to feel massive pain toward behaviors that don't serve you and overwhelming pleasure toward the ones that do. You can turn procrastination into something so emotionally unbearable that you are compelled to take action. You can make the pursuit of your goals feel so emotionally fulfilling that nothing can stop you. So how do you do it? You start by asking the right questions. Questions that force you to feel, not just think. What will my life look like if I don't change? If I keep making the same choices, living with the same habits, running the same patterns, where will I be in 5 years, 10 years, 20? What will it cost me physically, emotionally, financially, spiritually? And how will I feel if nothing changes? Who else is affected by my lack of action? If I don't change, how will it impact my family, my relationships, my future children? What kind of example am I setting for the people I love? How will I feel knowing that I could have changed but I didn't? What's the ultimate consequence of staying the same? What is the worst case scenario if I never take action? What opportunities will I miss out on? What dreams will I have to bury? These questions are uncomfortable, but that's the point. Because when you truly feel the consequences of inaction, Staying the same is no longer an option. You create so much emotional pain around the idea of staying stuck that you are driven to move forward. But pain alone is not enough. To create unstoppable momentum, you must also link massive pleasure to taking action. You must create a vision so compelling, so emotionally intoxicating that it pulls you forward. Because pain pushes you away from what you don't want, but pleasure pulls you toward what you do want. So ask yourself, what will my life look like if I fully commit to change? How will I feel waking up every day knowing I'm living at my highest potential? How much joy, fulfillment, and confidence will I experience? How will my relationships improve, my finances grow, my health transform? Who else will benefit from my transformation? How will my success inspire my family, my children, my friends? What kind of example will I set for others? How will my story impact the people around me? What's the ultimate reward of taking action? What does it feel like to live a life of freedom, purpose, and passion? What experiences will I get to have? What kind of legacy will I leave? The deeper you go with these questions, the more powerful your emotional leverage becomes. And once you've conditioned your mind to associate unbearable pain with staying the same and overwhelming pleasure with taking action, change is no longer an effort. It's a must. It's automatic. It's inevitable. Because when you truly feel the weight of what's at stake, nothing can stop you. Everything we do, everything we achieve, and everything we become is shaped by one invisible force: belief. Belief is the foundation of all human potential. It is the invisible script that runs your life, dictating your actions, your emotions, and ultimately your destiny. It is the silent architect of your success or the unseen anchor holding you back. What you believe about yourself, about your abilities, about what is possible, that is what determines the course of your life. Not luck, not intelligence, not resources, not circumstances, but belief. Because the truth is, human beings will always act in accordance with their deepest beliefs. If you believe you are limited, you will act in ways that confirm that limitation. If you believe you are capable of greatness, you will find a way to rise to that greatness, no matter the obstacles in your path. The problem is, most people don't consciously choose their beliefs. They inherit them from parents, from teachers, from society, from experiences. Most of the beliefs people live by were never consciously decided upon, they were absorbed. And for too many people, these beliefs are disempowering. They were told as children, you're not smart enough, you're not talented enough. People like us don't achieve that kind of success. Maybe they failed at something once and decided, I'm just not good at this. Maybe they faced rejection and concluded, I'm not worthy of love. And here's the danger. Once a belief is formed, it shapes your perception of reality. Your mind becomes wired to filter out anything that contradicts it. If you believe you're not good at something, you will find every piece of evidence to confirm that belief. If you believe success is for other people, you will unconsciously sabotage yourself to prove that belief true. Because the brain hates contradiction, it seeks to validate what you already believe, even if that belief is keeping you stuck. Think about the stories of people who overcame the odds, who came from nothing, who defied logic and reason to achieve the impossible. What did they have? An unshakable belief. They refused to accept the limitations that others tried to place on them. They refused to let failure define them. They refused to believe anything other than the fact that they would succeed no matter what. And because they held that belief with absolute certainty, they acted in ways that made it a reality. But here's the key. Belief is not something you are born with. It is something you create. It is something you condition. It is something you reinforce every single day. Because just as negative beliefs are built over time, so are empowering ones. And the second you change your beliefs, you change your reality. So how do you do it? First, you must become aware of your limiting beliefs. You cannot change what you are unaware of. Pay attention to the thoughts that run through your mind. What do you tell yourself when you face a challenge, when you set a big goal, when you step outside your comfort zone? If there is hesitation, doubt, fear, those are signals of limiting beliefs. Write them down, look at them objectively, ask yourself, where did this belief come from? Is it true, or is it just something I accepted as truth without questioning it? Because the moment you start questioning a belief, you weaken its power over you. Second, you must replace disempowering beliefs with empowering ones. Your mind is like a garden. If you don't actively plant powerful beliefs, it will be overrun with weeds of doubt and fear. You must condition yourself to believe in your own power, your own potential, your own ability to shape your future. One way to do this is through repetition. The same way negative beliefs were programmed into you through years of reinforcement, you must install new beliefs through daily repetition, affirmations, visualization, immersing yourself in empowering ideas. These are all tools to rewire your mind, because the mind doesn't know the difference between reality and something vividly imagined. If you repeatedly tell yourself, I am unstoppable, I always find a way, I am capable of achieving anything, your mind will start to accept it as truth. Third, you must act in alignment with your new beliefs, because belief is not just about what you tell yourself, it's about what you do. If you say you believe in your potential but continue to play small, that belief is weak. But if you start taking bold actions, if you start doing things that scare you, if you start pushing beyond your comfort zone, your belief will grow stronger. Because action creates proof, and the more proof you create, the more unshakable your belief becomes. And let's be real, this is not an overnight process. Rewiring your beliefs takes time. But the good news, the more you do it, the easier it becomes. And once you install an empowering belief, it becomes automatic. Just like how a negative belief can keep you trapped, a positive belief can catapult you forward. When you truly believe that you are capable, when you truly believe that success is inevitable, when you truly believe that there is no failure, only learning, you become unstoppable. Because at the end of the day, your life will always be a reflection of what you believe. If you believe you are capable, you will find a way. If you believe you are not, you will find an excuse. It is that simple. So the question is, what do you choose to believe? If you want to create extraordinary results in your life, if you want to break free from mediocrity, if you want to achieve something that most people only dream about, there is only one formula that works. Massive action. Not small, hesitant, timid steps. Not waiting for the perfect moment. Not dipping your toes in the water. Massive, relentless, no excuses action. Look around at the most successful people in any field, business, sports, entertainment, science, innovation. What do they all have in common? They take action at a level that most people are simply unwilling to. They don't just set goals, they attack them. They don't just dream about success, they immerse themselves in the work required to make it real. They don't just try once and give up. They keep going until they figure it out. And that's the difference between those who achieve massive results and those who don't. Most people wait. They wait for the right time, the right opportunity, the right circumstances. They hesitate, they overthink, they analyze, and in the process, they kill their momentum before they even start. But those who create massive results don't wait for the perfect moment. They create it. They understand that progress is made through action, not thought, because here's the reality: no amount of planning, strategizing, or wishing will ever replace the power of execution. You can have the best ideas in the world, but if you don't take massive action, they are meaningless. You can have all the potential, all the intelligence, all the talent, but if you don't apply it, it's wasted. Success is not reserved for the smartest, the most gifted, or the most connected. It belongs to those who are willing to take relentless, focused action and refuse to stop until they get what they want. But let's be clear, massive action does not mean random action. It does not mean being busy for the sake of being busy. It means taking intelligent, strategic, high-leverage action that moves you closer to your goal at an accelerated pace. Too many people confuse activity with productivity. They spend hours reading, researching, organizing, planning, but never actually executing. They tell themselves they're working on it, but in reality, they're just avoiding the discomfort of real action. Massive action means doing the things that actually produce results, even when it's uncomfortable, even when it's scary, even when it's inconvenient. And here's the thing: when you take massive action, you build momentum. Momentum is one of the most powerful forces in the world. The hardest part of any goal is getting started. It's pushing through the initial resistance. But once you start taking action, once you start seeing progress, once you start moving forward, it becomes easier and easier to keep going. That's why successful people don't stop. They don't slow down. They build momentum and use it to propel themselves forward faster than anyone else. But what stops most people from taking massive action? Fear. Fear of failure, fear of looking stupid, fear of rejection, fear of making mistakes. And so they play it safe, they stay in their comfort zone, they take small tentative steps instead of bold, decisive action. But here's what they don't realize: failure is part of the process. There is no success without failure. There is no growth without mistakes. If you aren't failing, you aren't trying hard enough. The most successful people in the world don't avoid failure, they embrace it. They understand that every failure is a lesson, every setback is feedback, every mistake is an opportunity to improve. They fail faster than everyone else because they take more action than everyone else. While others are still thinking about what to do, they are already on their 10th attempt, learning, adapting, and improving. That's why they get ahead. That's why they succeed. And let's talk about speed. Speed matters. The faster you take action, the faster you get results. The faster you get results, the faster you learn. The faster you learn, the faster you improve. And the faster you improve, the faster you succeed. Most people move too slowly. They hesitate, they procrastinate, they waste time. But successful people execute with urgency. They make decisions quickly. They take action immediately. They understand that in a world that moves fast, speed is power. But massive action is not just about intensity, it's about consistency. Anyone can take action for a day. Anyone can be motivated for a week. But real success comes from sustained effort over time. It's not about one big push. It's about showing up every day, doing what needs to be done over and over again until the result is inevitable. Discipline beats motivation. Motivation fades, but discipline keeps you moving forward. And here's the best part: Massive action creates confidence. Most people think confidence comes first, then action follows, but that's not how it works. Confidence is not something you are born with. It is something you develop through action. The more you do something, the better you get at it. The better you get, the more confident you become. Action breeds confidence. Hesitation breeds doubt. If you want to feel more confident, stop waiting for it, start taking action, and confidence will follow. But there's another key to massive action: adaptability. Taking massive action does not mean blindly doing the same thing over and over again without results. It means taking action, measuring progress, learning from feedback, and adjusting as needed. It means being willing to pivot, to refine your approach, to optimize your strategy. The best in the world don't just work hard, they work smart. They take action, analyze what's working, double down on what's effective, and eliminate what's not. So what does massive action really look like? It looks like waking up earlier and working harder than everyone else. It looks like doing the uncomfortable things that most people avoid. It looks like taking risks, making sacrifices, and pushing yourself beyond what you thought was possible. It looks like commitment, a level of dedication so intense that quitting is never even an option. And the truth is, most people will never take massive action. Most people will stay in the cycle of hesitation, excuses, and fear. But that's why most people never achieve extraordinary results, because success is not normal, it is exceptional, and it requires exceptional effort. If you want to live like most people can't, you have to be willing to do what most people won't. At the end of the day, results don't lie. If you don't have what you want, it's because you haven't taken enough action. Period. If you want more, you have to do more. It's that simple. Massive action equals massive results. There is no other way. Every single person has patterns, habits of thought, habits of behavior, habits of emotion. These patterns dictate how we live our lives. They determine our decisions, our actions, and ultimately our results. And while some patterns are empowering, driving us towards success, fulfillment, and growth, others are deeply limiting, keeping us stuck in cycles of frustration, self-doubt, and underachievement. If you want to create a real breakthrough in your life, you must identify and destroy the limiting patterns that have been controlling you. Think about it. Every time you've struggled to make progress, every time you've felt stuck, every time you've tried to change but somehow ended up back where you started, it wasn't because you lacked intelligence, talent, or potential. It was because you were running the same pattern over and over again. You may have had different goals, different strategies, different circumstances, but underneath it all, the same limiting pattern was playing out, keeping you in the same place. So what are limiting patterns? They can show up in many different ways. Some people have a pattern of procrastination. They always wait until the last minute, avoid taking action, or get caught up in distractions. Some have a pattern of self-doubt. Whenever they start something new, they tell themselves they're not good enough, smart enough, or experienced enough. Some have a pattern of avoidance. Whenever things get tough, they back away instead of facing challenges head on. Others have a pattern of fear of failure, fear of rejection, fear of making the wrong choice. And some have a pattern of settling. They tell themselves they want more, but when an opportunity comes, they find a reason to stay where they are. The scariest thing about these patterns, most people don't even realize they're running them. They think that's just who they are. They think it's just their personality. They believe that's just the way life works, but that's a lie. These patterns are not who you are. They are conditioned responses. They are mental and emotional loops that have been reinforced over time. And just like they were created, they can be destroyed and replaced. The first step in destroying a limiting pattern is awareness. You cannot change what you don't recognize. You have to step outside yourself and analyze your behavior, your emotions, and your thought processes. What do you do when things get hard? When you set a goal, do you follow through or find reasons to delay? When you face failure, do you push forward or retreat? What patterns do you see repeating in your life? One of the most powerful ways to uncover limiting patterns is to ask yourself, where in my life do I consistently fall short of my goals? What emotions tend to show up right before I stop taking action? What are the common excuses or justifications I tell myself? What behaviors have I repeated in different situations that have led to similar negative outcomes? If I had to name my dominant negative pattern, what would it be? Once you identify the pattern, the next step is to interrupt it. Patterns only have power over you when they run unconsciously. The moment you disrupt them, you take back control. Think of it like a train speeding down a track. If you don't stop it, it will keep moving in the same direction. But if you throw something massive onto the tracks, the train is forced to stop. That's what you must do with your limiting patterns. One way to interrupt a pattern is through physical movement. Your body and mind are deeply connected, and the fastest way to shift your mental state is to change your physiology. If you find yourself slipping into a negative pattern, self-doubt, procrastination, fear, do something radically different. Stand up, jump, run, scream, punch the air, take a cold shower. Anything that jolts your nervous system and breaks the cycle. Another powerful way to break a pattern is verbal disruption. The words we say to ourselves shape our reality. If you catch yourself falling into an old pattern, interrupt it with forceful, disruptive language. Say out loud, stop, that's not me anymore. I refuse to run this pattern again. The more intensity and emotion you put into it, the more powerfully you disrupt the cycle. But interrupting the pattern is not enough. You must replace it with an empowering one. Nature hates a vacuum. If you remove a habit but don't replace it with something new, your brain will default back to what it knows. So after you break a limiting pattern, you must install a new empowering one. Let's say your limiting pattern is procrastination. Every time you need to take action, you hesitate, delay, or distract yourself. Instead of allowing the old pattern to run, you interrupt it by standing up, clapping your hands, and saying, "No more, I take action immediately." Then you install a new pattern. Whenever you feel the urge to procrastinate, you count down from 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go, and take action before your brain can talk you out of it. If your limiting pattern is self-doubt, every time that voice in your head says, "I'm not good enough," you interrupt it by yelling, "Lies! I am powerful, I am capable, I always find a way." Then you install a new pattern. Whenever you feel doubt creeping in, you remind yourself of 3 times in your life when you succeeded despite fear. You condition yourself to associate self-doubt with action instead of hesitation. And let's talk about repetition. Destroying limiting patterns is not a one-time event. It's a process of conditioning. Just like you didn't develop these patterns overnight, you won't eliminate them overnight. You must reinforce the new patterns daily until they become automatic. You do this through daily affirmations that reinforce your new identity, visualization of yourself acting differently in the situations where you used to run the old pattern, consistently taking action that aligns with the new pattern, surrounding yourself with people who reinforce your new standard. And here's a hard truth. You must make it painful to go back to your old patterns. As long as running your old pattern is comfortable, you will keep doing it. You must associate massive pain with staying stuck. Think about what your life will look like if you don't change. 5 years from now, 10 years from now. If you keep running the same limiting pattern, what will it cost you? Your dreams, your relationships, your health, your happiness. Feel that pain. Let it drive you. At the same time, you must make running your new pattern pleasurable. Link massive joy, confidence, and fulfillment to the new way of thinking and behaving. Celebrate every small victory. Reward yourself every time you break the old pattern and reinforce the new one. Because in the end, your life is a reflection of your patterns. If you want a different life, you must break the cycles that have been holding you back. And when you do, when you consciously destroy the limiting patterns that have controlled you for years, you will experience a level of freedom, power, and success that most people will never know. Everything you do, every action you take, every decision you make, every outcome you create is controlled by one fundamental force, your state. Your emotional, mental, and physiological state at any given moment determines how you think, how you feel, and how you behave. It dictates whether you step up with confidence or shrink back in fear, whether you take massive action or procrastinate, whether you see possibilities or problems, whether you break through or break down. Most people live their lives reacting to their state. They assume that how they feel is something that happens to them, something outside of their control. They wake up tired and assume it's just a bad day. They feel uncertain and assume they should wait until they feel ready. They experience fear and assume it's a sign to stop. They go through life at the mercy of their emotions instead of realizing the truth. Your state is a choice, and you can control it at any moment. Think about a time when you felt unstoppable, where you were completely in the zone, where everything just seemed to click, where you moved with confidence and certainty, where you took action without hesitation. In that state, you were at your best. Now think about a time when you felt hesitant, insecure, or overwhelmed. In that state, your energy was low, your thoughts were clouded, and your actions were weak. The difference between those two experiences wasn't your intelligence, your talent, or your ability. It was your state. When you're in a powerful state, you think clearer, you make better decisions, and you take bolder action. You feel confident, motivated, and in control. But when you're in a weak state, everything becomes harder. You doubt yourself, hesitate, and find reasons not to move forward. Your body slouches, your breathing becomes shallow, your thoughts become filled with fear, and in that state, success becomes nearly impossible. Now here's the key. Your state is not random. It is created by three forces: your physiology, your focus, and your language. If you understand how to control these three things, you can shift into a peak state instantly. You can go from feeling stuck and weak to feeling driven and powerful in seconds. You don't have to wait for motivation, confidence, or certainty. You can generate them on demand. 1. Physiology. The fastest way to change your state, your body, and mind are inseparable. The way you use your body directly impacts your emotions. Have you ever noticed how people who feel depressed move? Their shoulders are slumped. Their breathing is shallow. Their movements are slow. Now think about someone who is confident. How do they carry themselves? They stand tall. They move with energy. Their breathing is deep. Their gestures are strong. Your body dictates your state. If you want to change how you feel, the fastest way to do it is to change how you use your body. Motion creates emotion. If you're feeling tired or unmotivated, get up and move. Stand up straight, lift your chest, breathe deeply, smile, jump up and down, do something explosive. Instantly, your state will shift. The more energy you put into your body, the more energy you will feel internally. That's why athletes, performers, and leaders all use movement to get into a peak state before they perform. And it's not just about big movements. Your breathing alone has a massive impact on your state. When you're stressed or fearful, your breathing becomes shallow and rapid, sending signals to your brain that you are in danger. But if you slow your breathing down, take deep, powerful breaths, and fill your lungs completely, your mind immediately calms down. If you master your breath, you master your emotions. 2-dot focus. What you pay attention to becomes reality. The second force that shapes your state is what you focus on. Your brain is bombarded with millions of pieces of information every second, but you can only consciously process a tiny fraction of them. What you focus on determines how you feel and how you behave. If you focus on what's missing in your life, you'll feel scarcity. If you focus on what you have, you'll feel abundance. If you focus on your fears, you'll feel powerless. If you focus on solutions, you'll feel resourceful. Your mind is like a camera. It zooms in on whatever you direct it toward. Most people let their focus be dictated by their circumstances. If things go wrong, they focus on failure. If someone criticizes them, they focus on self-doubt. But successful people control their focus. They train themselves to look for opportunities, to find solutions, to see challenges as stepping stones instead of roadblocks. One of the fastest ways to shift your focus is to ask better questions. Your brain is always answering whatever question you ask it. If you ask, why does this always happen to me? Your brain will find reasons why you're a victim. But if you ask, how can I turn this into an opportunity? Your brain will search for solutions. Change your questions and you change your focus. Change your focus and you change your state. 3-dot language. The words you use shape your experience. The third force that controls your state is language. Both the words you say out loud and the words you say to yourself. The language is how we define our experiences. The words you choose create the emotions you feel. If you say, I'm frustrated, you will feel frustrated. If you say, I'm overwhelmed, you will feel overwhelmed. But if you say, I'm learning, I'm growing, I'm figuring this out, suddenly the same situation takes on a completely different meaning. The most successful people in the world use empowering language. They don't call problems problems, they call them challenges or opportunities. They don't say, I can't do this. They say, I haven't figured it out yet. They don't say, this is impossible. They say, there's always a way. And because they use different words, they create different emotions, and those emotions lead to different actions. If you want to take control of your state, start paying attention to the words you use. Eliminate weak language from your vocabulary. Stop saying, I'm stuck, I'm struggling, I'm lost. Replace it with empowering language. I'm finding a way, I'm getting stronger, I'm unstoppable. Your words have power. Use them intentionally. Master your state, master your life. If you want to create a breakthrough in any area of your life, you want to stop living at the mercy of your emotions and start taking control of your destiny, you must learn to master your state. You cannot wait to feel confident, motivated, or inspired. You must create those states on demand. And you do it by mastering your physiology, your focus, and your language. Because here's the truth. Your state determines your destiny. The difference between those who succeed and those who fail is not intelligence, talent, or luck. It's that successful people put themselves in a peak state consistently. They don't rely on external circumstances to feel empowered. They generate it from within. They know that when they control their state, they control their decisions. And when they control their decisions, they control their results. So the question is, what state are you choosing to live in? Are you letting circumstances dictate how you feel? Or are you taking charge and conditioning yourself to step into a powerful state every single day? There's a moment in every person's life when they realize that their future is not something that happens to them, it's something they create. It's not determined by fate, luck, or circumstances. It's determined by decisions, by actions, by what they choose to do in this very moment. Right now, as you sit here, as you breathe, as you think, your future is being shaped. Not tomorrow, not next week, not next year. Now, the biggest mistake people make is believing that the future is some distant place, something far away, something that will come one day. They say, I'll start when I'm ready. I'll take action when I have more time. I'll make a change when things calm down. And so they wait, and they wait, and they wait. But what they don't realize is that every second they wait, they are making a choice to delay their dreams, a choice to postpone their potential, a choice to keep living the same life instead of creating the one they truly desire. The future is not something you step into, it's something you build with every action you take. Every moment, every decision, every thought is a brick in the foundation of your destiny. And the problem is, most people are laying their foundation unconsciously. They're letting their habits, their fears, their doubts, and their past dictate what kind of future they're creating. They're letting external circumstances decide for them. They're letting their comfort zone keep them in the same patterns, running the same cycles, living the same story over and over again. But the truth is, the only thing separating you from the future you want is the decision to start now. Not tomorrow, not when you feel like it, now. Because here's the reality. Life doesn't wait, time doesn't stop. Every second that passes is one you will never get back. Every day you spend in hesitation is a day lost. Every moment you delay is a moment you could have used to build, to grow, to create. And the biggest reason people don't start now, fear of failure, fear of rejection, fear of the unknown, fear that they're not ready, that they don't have what it takes, that they'll make the wrong choice. But here's what most people don't understand. Fear is a liar. Fear tells you that you're not ready, when in reality you will never feel ready. Fear tells you that you need more time, when in reality time is running out. Fear tells you that you're not capable, when in reality you are far more powerful than you know. The most successful people in the world didn't wait until they felt ready. They didn't wait until they had every detail figured out. They didn't wait for the perfect circumstances, because they knew that waiting is an illusion. They knew that the only way to be ready is to start. The only way to get good at something is to do it. The only way to build confidence is to take action despite fear. Think about it. Where would you be right now if 5 years ago you had made different choices? If you had started that business, if you had committed to your health, if you had worked on your relationships, if you had invested in your growth, if you had stopped making excuses and taken action, your entire life could be different. But here's the good news. 5 years from now, you will look back on this moment and either be grateful you started or wish you had. The choice is yours. Most people underestimate what they can achieve in a decade, but overestimate what they can achieve in a day. They think success happens overnight, And when they don't see instant results, they quit. But real transformation, real progress, real achievement happens through consistent, intentional action over time. It happens when you commit, not just for a day, not just for a week, but for a lifetime. It happens when you decide that the future you want is non-negotiable, that you will no longer tolerate anything less than your best, that you will do whatever it takes for as long as it takes to make it happen. And here's the truth. Your future is being written whether you're aware of it or not. Every choice you make today is a seed that will grow into something tomorrow. If you plant seeds of discipline, of action, of courage, of persistence, your future will be filled with success, growth, and achievement. But if you plant seeds of procrastination, of doubt, of fear, of avoidance, your future will be filled with regret, disappointment, and missed opportunities. Most people think success is about luck, but success is never an accident. It's a result of momentum, of small actions repeated consistently, compounding over time. It's built in the quiet moments when no one is watching, when there's no applause, when it would be easy to quit, but you keep going anyway. It's built in the days when you don't feel like showing up, but you do it anyway. It's built in the moments when doubt creeps in, but you push forward anyway. And here's what separates those who succeed from those who don't. Winners don't negotiate with their dreams. They don't entertain excuses. They don't let fear dictate their actions. They don't wait for the perfect moment because they know the perfect moment is now. Everything you've ever wanted is waiting for you on the other side of action. The life you dream of, the impact you want to make, the goals you want to achieve, it's all within your reach. But it won't happen by accident. It won't happen by wishing. It won't happen by waiting. It will happen when you decide with absolute certainty that you are done with excuses, done with hesitation, done with living at a fraction of your potential. And the best part, you don't have to take massive action all at once. You just have to start. You just have to take the first step. Because once you take that first step, momentum takes over. Confidence builds. The path becomes clearer. The next step reveals itself. And before you know it, you're moving faster, pushing harder, becoming stronger. But none of that can happen if you don't start. None of that can happen if you keep waiting. None of that can happen if you don't take ownership of this moment and make the decision that will change everything, because at the end of the day, your future is not a mystery. It's not a mystery. It is a reflection of what you do right now. There comes a time in everyone's life when they reach a crossroads, a defining moment where they must decide whether to continue down the same familiar path or step boldly into the unknown and create something greater. That moment is a turning point, and that moment is now. No more waiting for the perfect time, no more hesitating because of fear, no more letting circumstances, doubts, or old stories hold you back. Everything you need to create a breakthrough is already inside you. The power to transform your life isn't something you have to search for, it's something you have to claim. Because in the end, the difference between those who succeed and those who settle is simple. One person makes the decision to change and the other doesn't. One person commits fully, takes massive action, and never looks back. The other stays stuck in the loop of hesitation, excuses, and regret. And right now you have a choice. You can walk away from this moment, go back to your routines and let life happen to you, or you can make this the moment that everything changes. The moment you decide that your past does not define you, that your limitations are not real, that your dreams are non-negotiable, because your turning point isn't coming someday. It's not waiting for you out there in the future. It's here, it's now, and the only question left is, what are you going to do about it?